Hey everybody, we are going to be making a recipe out of the Skinnytaste book by Gina Homolka. Now, the shrimp on the grits on the front of the cover look really good, but that's not what we're making. We're making pumpkin-obsessed vanilla-glazed scones. This is what they look like in the book, and they are really fabulous. I love scones, and I love fall, so put those together, and this is a perfect recipe for that. I will put it in the link below. It is 5 points on my WW plan. Let's get started with turning the oven on to 375 to preheat. And I have a 1/4 cup of unsweetened almond milk with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar here instead of buttermilk. I have a teaspoon of vanilla, a large egg, 5 tablespoons of canned unsweetened pumpkin puree, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and I'm going to use 1 vanilla bean. Half of it goes in the scone mix, and half of it gets set aside for the glazed frosting on top. So I've got a big pink bowl here. I'm going to just put everything in and use a whisk and just kind of like whisk it up a little bit. It's going to be really liquidy, and I just want to make sure that everything gets nice and established together. And then when I get done with this, I'm going to just set it aside, and I'm going to measure out my dry ingredients. I have a cup of all-purpose flour, a cup of whole white wheat flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and I've got 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon ground cinnamon, and a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. And I'm also going to be using 3 tablespoons of very cold butter cut into pieces. Now I'm going to mix up all the dry ingredients, just going to whisk it together here. And then I'm going to use a pastry blender to just kind of like break up the butter and mix it in. As you can see, that's what I'm doing here. I think I need to hold the bowl with one hand and use the pastry cutter with the other. And I'm just going to mix it up here. I don't want to overdo it, but I want to make sure that they are smaller than pea-sized pieces of butter in the mix. Okay, so now we've got that all ready. I'm going to add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients, and I'm just going to take a little rubber spatula and fold this because you don't want to over mix it. So I'm just going to be folding it just like this, only I'm going to use 2 hands. Okay, now I've got a floured board here, and I'm going to just knead it about 4 times, not too much. And then I'm going to take a cookie sheet, I'm going to spray it with nonstick spray, and I'm going to just kind of flatten out the rounded ball on this, and it's going to be about 9 inches in diameter. And I'm going to cut this into 12 pieces. Now you can keep cutting it just like this until you get 12 pieces. That's what I ended up cutting like 8 pieces, and I needed to do 12. But anyway, you can figure that out. I'm going to put it in the oven right here, and I'm going to set it, let's see, for about, I want to say 18 to 20 minutes. And here it is. Doesn't it look great? Now, I cut them all the way through, and they kind of grew back together again. Let's make the glaze. I've got 1 cup of Swerve confectioner's sugar. I'm just going to dump it in this bowl here. They want you to use 2 tablespoons of fat-free milk. I say use any kind you want. And then this is the vanilla bean pod seeds. That's what's going to go in here. You might need to use a teaspoon at a time of a little bit more milk until you get the consistency that you want, because this one didn't seem to be enough. This is the confectioner sugar that I use from Swerve. And so you just want to make sure you get the glaze consistency that you're comfortable with. Look at those beautiful tiny vanilla beans. They're just evenly distributed. They look so pretty. I think this is going to work. So here we go. Now I've changed it to the Swerve confectioner sugar. In the recipe, she uses regular confectioner sugar, but I didn't want the extra points, so I substituted. And now Swerve always kind of has a little bit of a cold sweet taste. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't mind it, and I'd rather not have the extra points on something sweet. But anyway, this was just really wonderful, and the scone itself was really soft and moist because of the pumpkin, and it really tasted like fall. So I'm just going to put all of this on here, and then I'm going to let it set up and dry, and everybody loved them. Here they are. I hope you enjoy them.